What's your name again? I saw you around.
A celebration here at Breeze Stevens Field. Feels like thousands of people brought discs and are having fun post-game. AUDL Championship Weekend 2018. The Madison Radicals are on their way to the finals. Evan Lepler, Megan Tormey, Tim DeBile, Kevin Pettit-Scantling, Colin Camp. What a night. Tim, this is, I'm sure, what you imagined, and it went better in the second half than 2 years ago. What are you most proud of your team's effort tonight?
That we didn't blow that lead, I guess. I mean, the short answer, I think we've come a long way since 2016. I think everybody's more focused on every point. I think we don't get as rattled. I think we had a couple mistakes in that game, and there could have been, that same sort of feeling. I never felt that feeling. I didn't feel like anyone got rattled, by a couple turnovers. So, I'm just proud that we played throughout and ended up winning the game.
KPS, how did you guys set the tone the way you did? Jumping out to a 4-0 lead with 4 straight breaks. And, I mean, you guys won the first quarter 9-3. LA won the last 3 quarters of this game, but the first quarter got you guys the win.
I would say it's part of the process. There's nothing we did differently this game. It's something we've prepared for. So practice number 1, we came in and decided that we were going to take care of business. And so that first quarter, I mean, we were excited, we were happy, but we knew that we were just doing our job, and we had 3 more quarters to go. And like Tim said, we're really happy we didn't blow that lead, and we just kept it going.
KPS is like icing himself down here as we're chatting. How you feeling? You hit the ground like 12, 15 times in that game?
Yeah, something like that. It feels like that.
How do you feel, and how are you going to feel at 11:15 tomorrow when you're
I'm gonna feel
back
great.
up?
It's going to feel so good. That's my mother field. I'm going to hit the ground, get up, keep playing. It's going to be great.
Colin, the Dallas Roughnecks tomorrow. A game that this franchise has been looking forward to for a long time. What will be going through your mind as you kind of collect your thoughts tonight and get ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely the game that we won in 2016 that we never got to. And so for us to have that opportunity now is huge, to be able to play against a bunch of guys we played against in the club scene and get redemption in that loss that we had to them last year here at Breeze Stevens. So I think we're really excited. We're super focused. I love playing against those guys. We played against them a few weeks ago in the club scene, playing double wide, so we have confidence. We beat them a few weeks ago. We feel like we can beat them again.
Megan, I'll let you jump in a moment. Let's talk about that last point of the third quarter, when if you guys score, you're up by 5. If they score, they're within 3. And, I mean, the heroics from numerous guys on that point, none more so than Thomas Coolidge. I didn't know he could jump that high. You guys probably did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. And, he was actually a game-time decision. We literally, we had him rostered, and I had talked to LA about when we needed to figure out, what the final roster was, and we both agreed that because we were out in the field and we wouldn't get a chance to get into the stadium until 10 minutes before, that we could make a game-time decision. And I was talking to him 5 minutes before the game. We weren't sure he was going to play, and suddenly he was like, okay, I'm good. And that play was just amazing. And it's a hamstring injury, so he got the full speed and jumped, and it was just a great play.
Are you guys not going to warm up for future games? Because I don't think you got much of a warm up today.
Well, we got a good warm up out in the field, and LA was out there, and there was some good natured watching each other, and it was fun to walk into the stadium, and it felt a little like a gladiator event. We kind of walked in the side door, and there we were in front of a big crowd.
KPS, you and I chatted earlier this season, and you said the Madison Radicals this year is a team that is mentally stronger than in past years. And I feel like that was tested today. Mm-hmm. You guys made some mistakes, gave up some points, and yet you never looked as though you felt like you were going to lose this game. How did you as a team develop that culture to be stronger in an arena like this one?
I think over the years and Tim and the owners have just put together a really solid team, and we've played together for a few years now. A lot of these people were in that Seattle loss. A lot of these people have lost in the championship weekend every single year, and so we've just developed this mental toughness. And so I think we're just all really proud of ourselves and have no expectation to lose for the rest of the season.
KPS is for the first time seeing replays of his Ds, which is got to feel pretty good after you walked away victorious.
Look, this one right here from Kevin. Yeah, wow. That was gnarly.
It was a game where you guys had to make some highlight reel plays because they put the pressure on you. Tim, what facets of your defensive game plan coming into the game were you most proud about executing? Because LA didn't score too many quick goals. They learned early on that if they huck to your big defenders, it's not going to go so well.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that we preach from day one is just we don't give up easy goals. So, if you see somebody going deep, you're going to help. We focus a little bit more energy on the deep stuff, and then we poach a lot in the lanes and
there's the Coolidge D.
Try to keep their handlers under control, and we did all those things. I don't think they had a ton of easy goals. We always had multiple defenders.
Kevin, what were you thinking? You're crawling to get that second block.
I was telling Megan, I think like the God just came up and just gave me an extra push there at the end. I have no idea.
Colin, is an O-line? Do you get guarded by Sterling in practice, and what is that like?
It makes me have to work super hard.
It sounds like it sucks.
Honestly, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. Sterling's an incredible defender, and honestly, playing against anybody else in a normal game, it feels like a breeze compared to going against Sterling. I mean, that guy is in your shorts all practice long. He's been a guy that, I was a captain on the team in college when he first joined the team, so he's always wanted to, D up extra hard on me, always wanted to try to get it to me. So, it's always a challenge to go against him, and it's fun. I love it.
Definitely better players because of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of an emotional lift did this crowd give you guys tonight?
It's incredible.
It was great. They're so loud.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were so loud. Playing in front of that kind of crowd, no matter what happens, and having them support you, you get broken, they're still cheering for you. You come back to the sideline every single time we score.
Yeah.
And they're so loud. It's an incredible energy.
And I mean, I think LA was a little bit shocked at the first 3 points by the sort of the size and the loudness of the crowd. I think, unfortunately, we probably are not going to shock Dallas tomorrow the same way. They've been here a few times, but I think that definitely played a part today.
As you think about Dallas tomorrow, KPS, what stands out to you? Obviously, the status of Dan Emmons and Kevin Richardson going to be interesting. They got hurt during the game today. They're both presumably questionable for tomorrow. They're two big bodies for that Roughnecks team.
We're going to change strategic-wise, but we have a system that has worked for years, and we're just going to keep getting better. Spyro and Tim have done a ton of research for us, so it's really just about trusting our coaches, trusting the system, going out there and executing.
What kind of crowd do you expect tomorrow, Tim?
I don't know. We've never had a championship game here. I think most of these people will be back probably, and then I know for a fact that a lot of people only bought championship tickets in advance, so. I hope we have a bigger crowd than we had today.
Can you put into words what? Just turn around and look behind you right now.
Yeah.
What does this mean for you guys to see this, festival of joy out there on the field? I mean, it's almost 10 o'clock, and you guys play in 14 hours.
I think I can speak for all of us. We're incredibly thankful to the Madison community, and Tim has done a ton. We've helped him out a lot, but Tim and the ownership has done a lot to rally Madison behind this team, and I'm really thankful, and I think we all feel the same.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%
I mean,
agree.
Look, Ultimate is an amazing sport, and when you give people an opportunity to see it and experience it and then play it, it's going to grow. And I think you can see it in Madison, and you can see it behind us. Every year this gets bigger and bigger. And we had a free clinic this morning with the Eurostars, and we had 75 kids come out.
That's cool.
It was really cool. I don't know. It's been amazing.
There's some footage from the clinic this morning. Before 3,000 people filed in. And the Eurostars will be here on Tuesday night to take on Madison Heist, a game that I know the community's looking forward to as well. But I'm going to just go out on a limb and say the community's a little more excited to watch you guys play in a championship game tomorrow, something they didn't get to do 2 years ago. We wish you luck. We'll let you go. And, get some rest. Look forward to tomorrow.
Thanks a lot,
Tim
Evan.
DeBile, Colin Camp, KPS. We'll take a short timeout, be back with other members of our crew to break down these two semifinals that we just saw. Game day live here at Championship Weekend. Dallas and Madison moving on to the finals. What a night here at Breeze Stevens Field. Thanks for joining us on Facebook Live and on YouTube as we continue our post-game celebration. Charlie Eisenhood, Ian Toner, Aaron Maraca, Megan Tormey. I am Evan Lepler. Dallas and Madison prevail. Charlie, I'm curious to get your general thoughts. Tonight, pretty much what you expected if you had to basically summarize it in 20 seconds?
Yes, but not quite the way that I expected to see it happen. Because I expected this last game, Madison LA, to be the shootout, and instead it was kind of a grindy, weird game where LA is going to come back to the drawing board and think, man, we had a chance to take that game if we didn't just play terrible in the first quarter. They basically played even the rest of the way. So there's that. The first game, didn't expect that to be the kind of high-flying offensive game that it ended up being. Expected to see a little bit more defense in that one. But, you know, at the end of the day, the two best teams, I think, prevail.
I think we saw the difference maker there in the end of the third quarter of the LA-Madison game. LA had the disc. Their D-line had the disc multiple times. This is the 4-minute point. And that D-line just didn't have an expert offensive handler or someone with the confidence or poise to march it all the way down the field. They got to the red zone and threw it out the back of the end zone. They got past midfield, and then they threw a kind of 50-50 huck that McDougal maybe got a finger on. But
he was going out of bounds regardless.
That was the difference there. That could have turned the tide, the momentum, and the LA D-line just lacking the depth that it needed in the biggest moments. That turned the tide for them late.
It would have made it 3. That if they had scored there, it would have been 3 points.
Sure.
And you think about what's going through Madison's mind if they score there, they're thinking about the Seattle game. So yeah, that was the game for sure. As soon as that Madison put it in to close the third, game over.
Aaron, you've coached in the Midwest against some of the guys who aren't as well known nationally, like Kevin Pettit-Scantling and Sterling Kanaki and Thomas Coolidge, who just continues to just blow your mind with the type of athleticism he has in big moments.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another thing we haven't mentioned yet is just the energy and the momentum of both of these games has been really interesting to watch. And when you have the athletes that Madison has that keep making big play after big play, it builds on itself, right? So then you start having supreme confidence in your defense. You start looking forward to the next big play, and it's hard to recover from that if you're the team experiencing that from the offensive end. Really impressed to see them churn out that many blocks. I think it played well into their momentum and their energy game.
So it's Madison and Dallas tomorrow, and notably absent from the final for the first time since 2013 is Bo Kittredge. We didn't spend a lot of time focusing on that because, you know, Bo is not the Empire. The Empire are far more than Bo. But that is significant. He is now 14-1 in the playoffs. He's had a remarkable career, and he made some go-back-in-time plays today. That layout D on Jay Fruit, and then he caught up to Jay in this near end zone over here. Didn't catch his D. He'll learn that one of these years. But Bo finally experienced his defeat at championship weekend.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much of his intuition about winning that really helped shape the Empire season, especially down the stretch. But, you know, a player like Jay Fruit isn't going to allow you to get that many plays on him. And you saw as soon as Bo made that D, Jay really amped up the intensity. I mean, he's an MVP candidate. Bo has obviously won MVP a couple times in the past, so they're well matched in that regard. But really, I just didn't expect Jay to allow Bo to continue that style of play. He was eager to make a name for himself today.
Looking at highlights, that was a heck of a shoulder-to-shoulder battle between Dalton Smith and Bo Kittredge. You think, like, they're not 15 years apart, but they're what, 12 years apart, 11, 12 years apart, and battling physically like their contemporaries. Bo's battled a ton of guys as his contemporary in that way.
Yeah, and at this point though, Dalton Smith's a veteran. But it's true. You think back to when he first came onto the scene as a young college player. But, I feel like Bo Kittredge did everything that he could in this game. I thought he actually played quite well against Jay Fruit, all things considered. And, he put himself on the field for like 6 of the last 8 points or something like that. trying to will the team to a win. And obviously not quite enough in the tank there for New York, but it was the little things in that game. Dallas was just sharper on offense. And I think you saw that New York, those few small little miscues added up over time as Dallas was just deadly efficient. And I think that's something to watch for tomorrow's game, is how does Dallas's offense continue to play? Can they match up well against a Madison defense that's going to be a bit better than New York's, particularly on the athleticism side of things?
As a longtime New Yorker who has watched the Empire play a lot, is 2018 a successful season for the New York Empire?
Oh, I think without a doubt. I think for them to get past Toronto made it a successful season. I mean, in some ways, getting back to the playoffs was successful. I mean, you look at Ben Yot just making plays all over the field today. Just Jeff Babbitt doing the things that he was doing. I think that to get the back-to-back wins over DC and Toronto, to get here and then play a game that I think was more competitive than most people expected against Dallas. They had opportunities late in the game to make a run and maybe win. So I think definitely success.
It was really impressive. They fell behind 3 breaks and I think a 5-point span in the first quarter, and it was kind of, uh-oh, this could get ugly. And then they rallied back, tied it up on that Callahan from Ryan Drost. I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ben Yot was a force in the first half, and either because of Dallas adjustments or maybe Yot was a little banged up, he just didn't seem like the same player in the second half of the game. Aaron, what do you see?
I think it was more of a defensive adjustment by Dallas to play slightly behind the backfield receivers. We also saw them put on a little bit of a flat mark to try and neutralize what attack lanes were available. So they forced Harper Garvey in particular to go around the outside of those marks, which put a lot of blade on those throws. And by backing those star players in the backfield, forcing them to make some throws in addition and not just win those sky battles over and over again.
Aaron, when you're coaching the wind chill, how do you prepare to face this radical zone? Do you throw extra defenders on the field during the week and simulate things, or do you just stick to your own bread and butter?
We scrimmaged 10 versus 7.
Wow.
On occasion. We also tried to, it's windy in Minnesota too. So we have taped things to Frisbees to make them harder to throw.
What do you tape to the Frisbee?
That's a trade secret, obviously. So we try to make it hard mentally too. So we've tried to play tired and try to produce conditions that are mentally challenging to get through. Sometimes it's not necessarily important how relevant the mental challenge is, just that we know that we can get through them, right? And I think more than anything, the Madison zone presents a mental hurdle. So much so, in fact, that perhaps this LA team prepared for that zone, and then when Madison didn't go to it, they were out of luck.
I think it's going to be fascinating to see which team has more in the tank tomorrow, because both teams really had to work. And you think about the number of times Madison's key players hit the ground. I mean, Schreiwise had a violent bid over there. Victor Luo had to take an injury because of a bid where his head snapped on the ground. Obviously, KPS lived on the turf. He has more rubber pellets on him right now than anybody.
Plasman broke his arm.
Yeah. I mean, it was a vicious night out there. You could tell how much these guys wanted it.
And I don't think there was any hesitation when any of these guys went up to make those plays. It was just a question of, how am I going to get my hand on this disc? That's how incredibly badly these guys want it. You think about the opportunities and the difference in opportunities between these teams. LA, this is the first time that the majority of this roster has been here. Madison is fighting to preserve its legacy and live on to capture that elusive championship. It's just, they've got the same drive. It's just different motivating factors.
Migos, you've been watching the Madison Radicals longer than any of us. You were calling games in 2013 when they lost to Toronto in the final. They lost in the semis to San Jose, or Toronto the next year, and then San Jose, and then San Francisco. And what's different about this Madison team that gives you belief that tomorrow is finally, after 6 years, going to be the day?
They are playing with a chip on their shoulder that I have not seen before. I've always thought that they were a talented team, but kind of played a little calm and nice. They don't seem to be playing nice today, and I don't mean that their play style is in any way, shape, or form dirty, but every time a big disc went up, it looked like they knew with a certainty that they were coming down with it, and that confidence really radiated off of them for the entirety of the game, even as LA started to narrow that gap.
You're a story guy, Charlie. Madison winning is the best story, right?
Oh, without a question. I think everybody wants to see them get that championship, and it feels like every year I kind of think maybe this is the last year they're still going to have that window be open, but I think we've seen that they've started to reload with the younger players, and it seems reasonable that they're going to have a chance to, continue to be the top of the Midwest. But no doubt this is the best opportunity they've had. Not only are they playing here at home, but they're playing against a team that's going to be missing a guy that I think would have been really important in the matchup, Kevin Richardson, who's hurt today. So with Richardson injured, I worry a little bit about Dallas's consistency on offense, although I do think the fact that they worked the disc sideline to sideline so much today and didn't just try to go deep the way the Aviators did against Madison, which clearly did not work out, gives Madison a really good chance. But Dallas still the favorite, I think, tomorrow.
Well, Tim DeBile said he doesn't think Dallas will be intimidated by their surroundings or maybe stunned the way that Los Angeles was at the start of the game. And, I mean, the young players that rose to the occasion today, I mean, Carson Wilder and Connor Olson and Matt Armour and Zach Marbach. I mean, frankly, these guys have been doing it for Dallas all year long. We've been kind of waiting for them to falter, and they're 15-1. They haven't faltered.
Well, that's exactly why they've won the AUDL South and been so competitive this year, despite the fact that they lost the major talent of Jimmy Mickle, Dylan Freechild, everyone who's come through and had their Roughnecks run and gone on. They've been able to nurture this depth and get it up to a championship contributing level. And I think a lot of other programs around the country would do well to learn from exactly what Dallas has done to get players 14 through 20 into valuable contributing positions.
That's a really good point, Ian. I think it's very clear that the 2016 championship caliber team has left an imprint on the culture in Dallas that hasn't been shaken in the last 2 years. And I still think back to the way we talked about the South Division as though Raleigh had won it from the outset and that Dallas might not even be in the second place, that they were going to slip down a little bit farther. And yet that didn't seem to shake anyone on Dallas's confidence about their team's ability. Like they show up to games and they get work done, even when they're down by 6 in the playoffs.
So we're back here tomorrow, and I want to take one quick timeout and get Brian and Chuck back up here to get their final thoughts. But Charlie and Aaron, before you guys go, your thoughts heading into tomorrow and your picks for tomorrow.
Oh man, I feel like I want to see the injury report before I make my pick, but I'm still
picking Madison.
I'm not. I think I'm going to take Dallas. I think I'm going to take Dallas. I just
public enemy number one here in Madison, Wisconsin.
I mean, look, I think Madison's got a really good chance. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think the matchup's really interesting. I mean, remember back 2 years ago, everybody wanted Dallas-Madison. This was the game that we were waiting to have happen, and it looked like it was going to happen, and then collapse from Madison against Seattle. But, look, I think it's going to be a very tight game, but I like Dallas's just steal. I mean, you saw it today. They just aren't afraid of the moment at all, and I'm going to take them by the narrowest of margins.
Like by 1 or 2?
Yeah. Yes.
Aaron, are you rooting for your divisional brethren to get the win tomorrow? I don't know if you can admit this honestly, or do you?
I think I'm rooting for a good game.
Yeah.
I would like a good game. I think that they match up very well. I think Ian put a really nice kind of tag on it, and that is that the battle might not necessarily be among the top 7, but that 14 through 20. And if one of those teams can get hot in that roster range, I think that'll be the determining factor. And, roster to roster and who's produced today, it looks to me like Dallas has a little bit of momentum in that area of the roster. Madison just had a really good game with their top lines. I think that's, their bread and butter, but I think Dallas is able to produce a more complete kind of 20-on-20 scenario, and on a second day of a, tournament feel event like this one, I think that's going to come down to whether you can use all 20 of your guys and who's still got legs at the end.
Dallas did bring, I think, 5 additional bodies, so they will have 20 healthy bodies tomorrow. Will there be 20 rested bodies and 20 effective bodies ready for this moment? That's a different question. Aaron and Charlie, thank you so much. We're going to take a quick, 30 or 60-second break, and we're going to invite Chuck and Brian back up here. We'll wrap up our game day coverage here at Championship Weekend. Dallas over New York, Madison over L.A., Radicals and Roughnecks tomorrow. We'll be back in a moment. I'm not sure when these fans are going home. Championship Sunday is just around the corner, but they're enjoying the night. They don't want to let this night end. We're back on our Game Day Live set with Chuck Kindred, Megan Tormey, Brian Jones, and Ian Toner. I'm Evan Lepler. Chuck, your final thoughts on this Saturday night where Madison and Dallas set the stage for what's a pretty tantalizing matchup tomorrow?
Yeah, it should be interesting. I think Madison's good at Ultimate, and Dallas is also good at Ultimate. And I think if they play an Ultimate game, that could be a good game of Ultimate, is what I would say.
Keeping it simple, Chuck.
Yeah. Play
Give me
against each
more
other.
than that, Brian.
Well, I think you have Dallas playing in the heat. They lost a bunch of players. Madison's got the momentum. They're going to have the home crowd. Madison's going to take it. No doubt.
Oh, interesting.
Who you got?
No, Madison's not going to take it.
You got
Relax over there. Relax. Dallas is coming out of the South, best division by far. We're in the Midwest. Now, I love the Midwest. I'm from the Midwest. This is not Ultimate Mecca here. This is small potatoes in the grand scheme of Ultimate. I think they're going to get rolled. And I think Dallas can hit the over-the-tops, and they're not going to win these 50-50s that they were winning against L.A. It's not going to happen.
Megan, do you agree with Chuck?
I hate to say it because I want this to be Madison's year.
Wow.
I really do.
You agree with Chuck?
Well, yes.
Risky.
And I'm not very good at picking, so it might be worthless to
Well,
listen
that's
to
all
what I
right.
have to say.
You two can be wrong in your wrongness over here.
And that's fine. That's fine. Well, this will be wrong island.
Yeah.
But the thing to point out is that as soon as LA decided that they were going to show up to the game, which it took them an entire quarter to do so, it was a much closer game. And Madison was up by 8 at times, but LA closed that gap to 4.
Well, they were getting blocks, too. I mean, they were getting blocks. They were closing the gap. They had, Madison got into that homemaker, protect the fort kind of mode. Like, let's hold on to our little lead here.
Yeah.
And they were able to do that, but that's because they dug a hole. It's because LA dug a hole at the beginning of the game. Dallas isn't going to dig a hole.
Right.
It's not going to be any hole tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I think.
We saw Dallas dig a hole in the South Division final, and they dug themselves out of it. But they were the home team that game, and Raleigh was in the second day of a back-to-back. I guess tomorrow both teams will be on the second day of a back-to-back. Who are you leaning towards?
Look, I think the takeaway from today's game is that Madison bent, but they didn't break. And that's something that we saw completely. That's a complete flip of the script from the semifinal against Seattle years ago. You had that point at 2013. That was a point that Tim DeBile pointed out on the sideline. Hey, this is the exact score where things turned around against Seattle 2 years ago.
That's such a Tim DeBile thing to say.
And when Madison scored that goal to go up 21-13, there was a huge exhale on the sideline. But, Madison did enough to give themselves a cushion. And sure, there were a few breaks that they gave up throughout the rest of the game, but they didn't let that margin get fatally close. And I think the health and explosiveness of their athletes is going to make a huge difference tomorrow. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to each D-line's discipline with the disc. And we saw moments of discipline from the Madison D-line We saw moments of discipline from the Dallas, efficiency from the Dallas D-line earlier on. I'm taking Madison. I saw confidence from them that I hadn't seen before this game.
So it's 2-2, and I guess I get to be the tie-breaking vote. I've been saying for a while now, I feel like the stars are aligning for the Radicals. And look, they need to win tomorrow because they're never going to have another opportunity quite like this. I mean, championship weekend 2 years from now might be right back here. I'd be very surprised if Madison hosted 2 years in a row. But 2 years from now, Pat Schreiwise is 2 years older. Ben Nelson is 2 years older. Kevin Pettit-Scantling and Dave Wiseman and Sterling Kanaki and Scott Riggles will be long since retired. There's young talent coming up in Madison. But, look, L.A. is a really dynamic offensive team. They were second in the league in goals during the regular season. Their offense looked totally out of sync, flustered, flummoxed by what Madison did, sagging into lanes, switching when they didn't expect them to switch, and not switching when they did expect them to switch. And look, like Peter Graffi didn't even have like a marquee game tonight for the Radicals, and they still won fairly handily. The Roughnecks have had a magical season as well, with losing all the guys that they lost. I mean, like, think about 2 years ago, and we talked about it during the broadcast with, you know, Bowen Cassidy and Jimmy and Dylan and Kurt and Mazer and Stanley Peterson and Ben Laurie. And Jake Anderson was a great defender for this team, and they lost their coach, Patrick Eberle. Now they might lose Kevin Richardson. Now they might lose Dan Emmons. I think it's going to be Madison's moment. I think defensively they're going to fluster some of the young players, and this place is going to be like a freaking, you know, European soccer venue tomorrow. It's going to be nuts.
Are you making the scarves before tomorrow too?
The what?
The scarves?
Tomorrow's coming really quick.
Okay, all right. I just had to ask.
Yeah, obviously Madison is the better story. And look, maybe Dallas just comes out and they're big bad Dallas again. And like, they have plenty of reasons to win this game as well. I mean, think about Jay Frood. He's never won an AUDL championship before.
Is KPS going to be on Jay Frood? Because I just got really excited when that popped into my head. That would be pretty fun to watch. Because I don't know if anyone else is really going to be able to run down anything to Jay Frood the way. Well, we saw Bo do it.
Yeah.
Bo's too old to finish that, though.
Sterling Kanaki, maybe? Sterling Kanaki, maybe an okay matchup?
He's okay. He's okay.
But
I don't know.
You heard Colin say how much he hates matching up with him in practice.
Interesting.
But, you know, like Jay Frood has a history here in Madison. Maybe the Radicals fans were supporting him today. He's not getting any love tomorrow.
No love tomorrow, yeah.
And, I mean, this Dallas team has a lot of guys who weren't part of the championship 2 years ago. And they are going to want to really come out and win. But, I don't know. I think Madison's size. I mean, we saw it today. I mean, we talked coming in. L.A. is a team that doesn't have a ton of size, especially defensively. And early in the game, they gave up, I mean, turned it over one after another just by going at the bigger matchups. And what was it, Keoy trying to guard Wiseman on that one deep shot? Like, you feel bad for Mike Keoy.
Yeah, Wiseman misplayed that. Still caught it. I mean, it's just like those are two different species.
Yeah, he barely jumped, really.
Yeah, I was like, sorry, bro. Next time, maybe.
So, yeah, we're not going to stay on the air and beat all these players out of here. We're gonna sign it off. We'll be back on the air here at Game Day Live, 11 a.m. local time, so noon Eastern time tomorrow, and then 1 o'clock Eastern for the game. Dallas Roughnecks and the Madison Radicals. And, hey, I'm 1 day down without my wife going into labor. We need one more day to get through, and then we'll be good to go. So for Chuck, Megan, Brian, and Ian, and our entire crew, and Charlie and Aaron, and everyone who has joined us and made this broadcast go, we thank them. We thank you for tuning in. I'm Evan saying good night from Bree Stevens Field. Another entertaining semifinal Saturday in the books at Championship Weekend. Tomorrow should be a heck of a match. The Radicals and the Roughnecks for the title. We'll see you then.